What's up, you guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review, and I'm here to talk about The Mandalorian Episode 2. And what an episode it was. I, for one, loved it. Now, I did really like Episode 1 quite a bit, but this episode was just there's so much more to this episode than there was to the first episode. The first episode did what a first episode is supposed to do. It set up the world, set up the character, introduced us to some main plot points, and that was it. This episode got us into it and picked right up where the first one left off with, we're talking spoilers here, right? So picked right up with Baby Yoda. It's not Baby Yoda. The people who think it is Baby Yoda, it's not. Yoda died about 5 years ago. He's a Force ghost in The Last Jedi. This isn't Baby Yoda. This baby's been alive for 50 years. So it's not a reincarnated Yoda either. So it picks up right where episode 1 left off with Baby Yoda. And what I loved about this episode was the way that the Mandalorian he definitely didn't soften to the baby, but his interactions with the baby were, for lack of a better word, his interactions with the baby were cute. It was cute to see the way that this hard-edged bounty hunter was interacting with Baby Yoda. When it would get out of the crib and he would put it back in, it would get out, he'd put it back in. Finally, he just closed the lid. This was all that was very endearing to the character. What I really liked about this episode, though, more than the endearingness that he had with Yoda, Baby Yoda, was the sequence with the Jawas. The sequence with the Jawas is great. First of all, how wonderful is it to see Jawas back in Star Wars mythology, back in the Star Wars canon, right? Not that they were ever taken out, but the Jawas, nothing screams old school Star Wars quite like the Jawas do. So I love seeing them in there, and I love seeing them play more of a central role. You know, having the Mandalorian go after the Sandcrawler, having the Jawas attack him, with the stun blasters that they have. So much of it just screamed original trilogy. And I adored it. I adored the whole sequence with the Jawas. And then when he has to go get the egg, because there's going to be challenges, because we have to cover 8 episodes, so he's going to have challenges that he has to overcome to get Baby Yoda to where he's going to get him to. One of those challenges is getting the baby egg, or I don't think it was a reek, right? It looked like a reek, sounded like a reek, acted like a reek, but I don't think it was a reek. I think that they're calling it something else. But the reek-like animal, its egg, having to get that for the Jawas, that was a great sequence for me. The whole battle between the not reek was just great. What I loved was when he finally got down to his last weapon, the knife. It looked to me like he was getting ready to plunge it into himself. And I'm probably wrong on that, but let's talk about the sequence when he's fighting the reek. He's done. He's going to be beaten. This animal is going to beat him. And then Baby Yoda stops him and makes him float in the air. And for a second there, it sounded like we heard the first few notes of John Williams' Star Wars score. I just got chills during that whole sequence with Baby Yoda. I just got chills. I thought that was wonderful, and I was like, Star Wars! Star Wars! So I loved it. And then, is the Mandalorian an expert on anatomy of every single space animal in history? Because he took this little knife and jammed it into the perfect spot to kill this big, huge animal. It looks like a rhinoceros. So I kind of rolled my eyes at that part a little bit, but the whole sequence was amazing. I was just too busy soaking in everything that was happening to care about a ridiculous ending to it. I was just in awe with the whole fight, and then Baby Yoda's involvement. It was just so great. Khalil I think his name is Khalil. Nick Nolte's character. I think he's going to end up being a huge fan favorite, especially in this series with his "I have spoken." I think that's wonderful. I think that gives him personality. I talked after the last episode about how this world feels very lived in again. and it feels very gritty, and it feels very original trilogy. That's the type of character trait that they would have given in the original trilogy. You know, not some stupid boss ass, nothing like that, right? Nothing ridiculous, just subtle things that makes it feel real, makes it feel authentic. And him ending with, "I have spoken." That is such a small thing, but it's so big when you start thinking about how it makes the Star Wars universe feel. And this makes just something that simple makes it feel authentic, makes it feel real, makes it feel tangible. So I love this episode. I think that this episode just screamed Star Wars. And yes, you know, this is not an episode, this is not a series that they're going to pretend like the Jedi don't exist in the universe. Clearly, this is going to be a very Jedi-centric series. They might never use the word Jedi. They might never reference, the Jedi or the Sith. But clearly, this baby Yoda is a Force user, and it's going to have bigger ramifications on the Jedi overall. It's just going to, because we're going to learn more about the species that Yoda is. We've only seen two characters from that species, Yoda. And to be fair, Yoda is just a supporting character. There's no movie where Yoda is a main character. Revenge of the Sith probably is the movie that he had his biggest part in. He was still nothing more than a supporting character in that. And then the other character, the female version of Yoda that was on the Jedi Council, it was either Yiddle or Yaddle, something like that. Never had any speaking lines. So we're going to learn more about this species and more about, are they all Force sensitive? Are they created by the Force? Is there a whole planet filled with them? We don't know anything about them. So what's wonderful is that I think we're gonna by the end of this season, I think we're gonna know a lot more about this species. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're still gonna keep it a mystery, and that Mandalorian's never gonna get any answers on what this baby is, and that might be poetic in of itself. But I think we're gonna learn more. So overall, love this episode. Thought it was fantastic. What did you think of the Mandalorian episode 2? The Child. It was called The Child. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here at the LQ Review, where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff at the LQ Review, where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Every single day